What's up? This is Logie TV. We are here with Will Stevens, and also known as the Cosmic Giggler. Has a podcast. Check him out. Cosmic Giggler podcast on Spotify and on Instagram as well. So give him support. And today we are just going to be talking about a little something that we read about just a second ago. From the book right here, Life After Death, by Deepak Chopra. And we just read a little bit about projection and the power of projection, specifically in the creations of angels and lights that are guides in this world, and how those projections can actually be deemed as real, but in our society right now, at this current moment, if you would tell someone that you saw an angel or a demon, you would probably be looked at as crazy. But in the book and what we just read about, it was just explaining about how that act of creating those angels is actually more of a superpower than we even know. And Will has some pretty good stories about this, in which that he feels that he has had very specific and impactful experiences of seeing these archetypes, angels, whatever you saw, and
deities, whatever you want to call it.
So Will, what are you like some of your favorite or most impactful experiences with seeing your angels or guardian angels or something?
What I like about the book is, so I guess last New Year's, I've been doing this thing for the last 2 years where I won't go out and party on New Year's or get hella drunk or anything like that. I'm gonna stay home and do a mushroom ceremony by myself, because it seems like a big transition of the year, like a good time to change. And on last New Year's, I had an experience of meeting these it felt like Native American elders or South American elders, something, I don't know what area it was the beings were from, but it just felt like Native Americans, something like that. And it was very, very powerful. And I was seeing these all these spiritual beings from different parts of the world, like Native American shaman, an Asian shaman, or not a shaman, but a Zen master, or and then the same with a wizard from Europe or something. I was seeing all these mystical figures from different parts of the world, if that makes any sense. And what I really like about the book is it talks about those really, they felt transcendent, Jesus, God-like figures. They were coming to me and I was crying. It felt like they were taking away all my fear. It felt like they were loving me and holding me and giving me messages or something like that. They were telling me there was nothing to be afraid of and that I could call on them whenever I needed to. And for a long time, I viewed it as man, that must be something outside of me. But what I like about the book is it almost is more powerful to look at that experience as a projection, because in order for that to be a projection, all of those transcendent, mystical figures from all these different places in the world that kind of came into my experience, those are projections from within me. So those beings are within me somehow, and all their lovingness and all their wisdom and all their mystical effect is from within me, and I was projecting it out, and I wasn't aware of that until I had that mushroom experience and kind of cracked myself open. And now from reading this book, I realized that it was a projection, and that's more powerful because I recognize that the being is within me.
Yeah, so you were almost your interpretation of the experience was that you were projecting almost something that was real inside of you onto this real physical world, and almost power, in the most powerful way possible, like creating like a real like visual
yeah
thing.
experience.
Cool.
That's why mushrooms are cool, because you can
totally
go into that. Yeah.
So I mean, you talked about a mushroom experience. What about? Did you have any? Have you ever had any experiences when you were sober or anything?
Yeah. So I'm like a big believer in, like, if you're gonna use psychedelics, you have to integrate what you learned into your life, and that's a pretty crazy thing to try and integrate into your life. Like meeting like mystical beings from places I don't know where they're from, like, is a really hard thing to bring into this reality. But the way that I found best to do it is to pray, like, before I go to sleep, to like think about all those beings, and like the messages they gave me. And even if they are projections, I'm not always in touch with that part of myself, so I can pray to that part of myself that is more wise and more loving.
You're like guardian self, like the guardian angel, in which, like, I guess Christianity mostly believes in.
Yeah, I call it the will that knows. Like, I feel like we all, like, you have a Logan that knows. Like, there's a part of ourselves that is like wiser and just knows what we need to do, knows how we need to feel. Anyways, that's how I integrate it into my life. I pray to those beings, and I can like feel a lot of love and like contentment, and it grounds me back into that experience of like, don't be afraid of anything, love yourself, love the people around you, and just follow your heart and like enjoy this life because it's so beautiful. And yeah, praying is the main way. And
to like keep them almost like
keep
me. That guidance of the guardian angel, we'll just say, for lack of better words, that guardian self that you're explaining. Do you think that like you feel that you give them that love, that self of you love, and you also receive it by giving it love?
Yeah, and being aware of it, and taking a time out of my day to be aware of it rather than keeping it in the unconscious.
Well, super cool. And do you ever feel that like those yourself is like watching you? I mean, like, do you ever, like, from outside of you, from above maybe, or below?
Yeah, I feel like I have like a little like child ego. Like, we have a child within us that is programmed by what our parents did and school and all this, and it's afraid, and it's like, oh, do people like me? Like, I do it, like a million things it's worried about, like, all the time. But then there's another part of myself that's just like, hush hush, everything's okay. It's like, totally. It's like looking at that part of myself with love. So
totally. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, so another thing that we read about, which like kind of like explains this projection part like a little more scientifically, Deepak Chopra then talks about how, end quote, we shouldn't, this is his words in the book, we shouldn't be surprised that the universe contains only 4% matter slash energy. Visual matter slash energy. So what he's saying is that out of all the matter and energy in the universe, there's only 4% that we can see. The other 96% is what science and physics defines as dark matter. That energy slash matter is what's holding the 4% together in some mysterious way, which we still as humans probably don't know much about. And so what he was explaining in scientific terms is the observer effect. You are the observer, and you are observing everything around you constantly. And physics is almost explaining that every electron has the potential to be visualized or seen, and unless that there is one single observer, you, me, Will, anybody who looks at the world, until there is an observer looking at that electron, it is not an electron. It is just a potential to be an electron, to be seen. So
like, as an observer, you're a fundamental piece of this universe. Like, you are in co-creation with reality, because what is it without an observer? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I guess it could be there, but like it's not really there unless there's somebody to look at it and give form to it.
Yeah, he uses a good example about like watching a movie. The movie is not a movie unless someone is watching it, and if someone created it. So that, for me, for someone who likes video and stuff, I really like that analogy, metaphor, and I think that this learning about this power of creation will definitely, I'll definitely be reflecting on that this week, and maybe this video will inspire you to look more into your projections and as well, and give your guardian self and guardian angel some love. So maybe we can maybe in the future we can start accepting seeing these types of paranormal creatures, and like Will saw the guardian self. I think that we are both in agreement right here that I think that common acceptance of belief would just make the world more calm and more peaceful, which is ultimately pursuing peace is what we all want. So
I want to add one thing that might help. Like, if you're thinking about projection and you don't believe in angels, you don't care about any of this weird spiritual stuff that we're into, think about the celebrities that you love. All of that inspiration they give you and how much you idolize them, it's like they're like a deity, and all of that beauty you see within them is within you because you're projecting it onto them.
You're giving a purpose too.
Yep.
So, yeah. Thank you again. This is Logy TV with episode number 2, the projection. Peace.